Looking to add some extra Christmas sparkle to your holiday season? You're in the right place. These Christmas DIYs are sure to fill your home with festive cheer. Stay with us as we take aluminum foil and a simple placemat and turn them into delightful decorations that will enhance your holiday decor. It's easy and more fun than you might think. Hi, my name is Katie from Lady Red Crafting. Grab yourself a hot cocoa and let's get crafting. For this craft, I'm starting out with a blank that I got from Hobby Lobby, a tree blank from Dollar Tree, and a sign from Walmart. And I'm taking my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and I'm just going to do a light coat over the top of this blank. It was a little bit too white for my walls, and I want to put this up in my living room, so I'm just toning that down. Now, while that piece is drying, I go back to my little tree here, and I'm just going to remove the hanger from this tree. Next, I grab my hot glue gun, and what I'm going to do here is I'm taking my hot glue gun and I'm just going to add some designs to my tree. And there's no rhyme or reason. You can do whatever designs you would like. I'm doing a little bit of a swag on mine. And once you are done, just let that dry for a few minutes. And I am taking some of these dot stickers that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I didn't want to use the hot glue to make little dots, so I decided to use these dot stickers instead because I wanted them to all be somewhat uniformed on my tree. So that is why I'm doing that. But you don't have to use those stickers. You could just use your hot glue and make dots yourself. And if you don't want dots, you can just totally not do that as well. You can do it however you like. And a nice thing about these dots, or you could use hot glue, you can cover that hole at the top of the tree so nobody will see it. And now that we have everything attached to our tree, I'm grabbing my Aleene's tacky glue and I'm just going to add that to the top of this tree. And now that I have some of that glue on the tree, I'm going to grab a paintbrush here and I'm just going to paint the glue over the top of everything. I'm going to grab some aluminum foil, yes, aluminum foil, and I'm going to tear a sheet off bigger than the tree. And this aluminum foil is just the regular size aluminum foil. It's not the heavy aluminum foil. So all I'm going to do here is I'm laying this foil over the top of the tree and I'm lightly pressing it down with my hands. Next, I'm going to grab a paintbrush, and this is more of one of the circle paintbrushes that you would use for dry brushing. And I am going to take that brush and just tap down all the way around on this tree so that you can see all of the lines and the dots that we put underneath. And I just love the detail this gives our piece. I think this makes it look so amazing. Next, I'm going to go ahead and grab some paint here. And this is some multi-surface acrylic paint, and it is in satin, and it's number 2918. Now, all we're going to do is paint our tree. Once our paint has completely dried, I grab my Waverly wax in the color white. I'm taking a lint-free cloth and I'm just going to apply that wax over the top of our paint. Now, once I am satisfied with the wax, I'm going to let this dry overnight. The next day, I went with my zip sander and I'm going to sand in a downward motion to remove any of that aluminum foil. And if you don't have a zip sander, a sanding block would work just fine. Another thing you could do is if you had a cutting board, you could lay this down and just trim around it with a razor blade really carefully. Now here is what our tree looks like when everything has been removed. I am loving this look. Now let's go back to the board we painted earlier, and this was set up to be hung horizontally, and for this piece I want to hang it vertically. So I'm just going to remove one of the sides of the string and then reattach that string to the board so I'm able to hang it vertically using my staple gun. And now that we have our board and our tree prepped, I grabbed this hanger that I found at Walmart. These hangers are amazing. They're 98 cents. They're really easy to craft with. I've also used them on tiered trays or set them up on my shelf. So all I'm doing here is I'm just going to hot glue a little dot to cover that hole so we can hang this onto our sign. And now for the fun part. I'm using some Titebond Quick and Thick, and I'm going to put that on the back side of my tree here with a little bit of hot glue. And then I'm just going to add that to our blank. By using the hot glue with the Quick and Thick, you're going to get the short-term quick hold with the hot glue, and then that Quick and Thick is going to give you that long-standing hold that you want. I'm just going to repeat the same steps with the small little Merry Christmas sign, and I'm placing that just right under the tree. And now for our final embellishment, I'm adding a bow to the top of our tree. If you like that ribbon, I did get that at Walmart this year. Now here is what our final sign looks like. I just love how this turns out. I cannot wait to hang this in my living room to display for Christmas. Let me know what you guys think. Would you try this foiling technique? Here's a fun and super easy craft you can do. I'm taking a frame from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to pop the backing off of it. And once I remove the backing, there is an extra layer in here, and I am going to keep all of these pieces and just set them aside for a few minutes. Next, we're going to take this frame and place it on a paintable surface. And I do use a little bit of painter's tape just to help secure my frame down to my surface. Next, I grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color Sage, and we are just going to go ahead and do a nice coat of paint over the top of this frame. And once that dries, I do grab my Folk Art Satin in color number 2198. And I just do a quick dry brush over the top of the sage color, so you'll still see the sage and you'll still see a little bit of that gold. Now, once you're satisfied with the green, I went ahead and let that dry for a minute. Then I grabbed my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster. And all we're going to do is do another dry brush over the top of the two different green paints. Now, once everything is dry, we're just going to put everything back together. Now it's time to embellish our frame. I found these little hangers from Walmart for 98 cents, and I just love them. So I'm just going to take the little hanger off of this piece, and we're going to add that to the center of our frame. And once we have that glue to our frame, I did take a little bit more hot glue and I filled in the hole that was at the top of this hanger, and we're just going to add a little bow to the top. Now here is our finished piece. I just love how this turns out. I think this is one of my favorite pieces for the day. It was so easy to make, but I just love the contrast of that black and the green. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. It really helps my channel grow. Thank you. While browsing through the Dollar Tree, I found this fun decor piece and these adorable wood cutouts. And so I'm going to start out with using this wood cutout and my hot glue. And all I'm doing here is I'm going to draw some little swags on the top of my tree. Next, I grabbed these dot stickers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to add them to my tree as little ornaments. And you might have noticed there I did cover the hole on the top of the tree where the hanger was. And while we're decorating our tree, I want to tell you all about this playlist I'm a part of this month, Recreation Inspiration. And I co-host this playlist every month with my good friend Lily from Lily D Creations. And our guest host this month is Robin from Crafts Unleashed. And this month, my inspiration is all from Emily over at Farm Charm Cheek. She had this amazing video for 15 different farmhouse crafts, and I'll put a link for it in my description box below. But she has some amazing ideas, and a lot of these projects today have been inspired by her video. I have linked everybody in my description box below, the playlist, the inspiration video, and the host. So please go check them out and give them some love. Thank you so much for watching, and back to our video. So now that we have all of our dots attached to our tree, I'm going to grab a paintable surface and tape down our tree. Using some Aleene's tacky glue, I'm just going to add that to the top of our tree, and I'm going to just paint that on using a paintbrush. Next, I just grabbed out some aluminum foil, and I'm going to tear off a sheet big enough to cover my little tree. Now I'm just grabbing a dry paintbrush, and I'm just going to tap that down over the top of the foil, just so that it can get into all the different grooves on our tree. Once you are satisfied with your tree, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Luxe Metallic White paint, and I'm going to just do a nice coat of paint over the top of my tree. Now that the paint has dried, I did grab out my Mod Podge, and I'm going to use my hard surface Mod Podge to seal everything in. Once everything is really nice and dry, I went ahead and I grabbed my zip sander, but you could use a sanding block, a razor blade, or an emery board to do this. But I'm just going to sand in a downward motion to remove any excess foil. Now let's go back to that decor piece that we had from the Dollar Tree. I am going to flip this over and deconstruct it by just removing the staples on the back. Now that we have our sign deconstructed, I'm going to save the beads and the twine for a later craft. So I'm going to flip these back over, and next I'm just going to spray these down with a little bit of water, and I'm going to lay a paper towel over the top just to moisten up the paper. After a few minutes, I did take my little scraping tool here, and I scraped as much of the paper off that I could. This doesn't need to be perfect. We're going to be gluing something over the top of this. I just wanted to get any extra off so that nothing would peel off later. Now, I found this gorgeous placemat at the Dollar Tree, and I found it right at the end of the summer, so between the summer and the fall season. I'm not sure if your Dollar Tree will still have them, but if they do, grab them. They are so much fun to craft with. Let's go ahead and flip this placemat over, and using that square that we were prepping earlier, I'm just going to place that down on my placemat and then draw out the shape. And next, you guessed it, we're just going to cut out this square. And after a quick fit check, I'm going to go ahead and set that aside for a moment, and we're going to tape down our square to a paintable surface. And using some multi-surface satin black, I'm going to go ahead and just paint the back side of this square. And don't forget to get all the way around the square, even on the edges, because those might show as well. Now, while that is drying, I am going to go ahead and cut out a 10-inch piece of satin ribbon. Next, I'm going to shape that ribbon into a little fish shape, and we're going to use some hot glue and secure that together. Next, we're just going to flip our little square over, and we're going to add that piece to the back side where the black paint is. And I'm just going to glue that to the corner of our piece. And this will be our hanger for our ornament here. And I just wanted everything to be seamless on the back side. So that's why I painted everything black. I know some of you out there don't like that I use black all the time. It just matches my decor, but you guys can do any color that you want. So if you want to paint this white, green, red, just go crazy and do whatever you'd like. Next, I'm going to flip this back over and using my quick and thick tight bond, I'm just going to paintbrush a layer of that glue onto the front side of this sign. I'm just going to place that piece of placemat over the top of that glue and press that down. And now this is definitely starting to look like an ornament. I just love how this gold and the black looks together. So I'm going to grab our tree that we made earlier and using our quick and thick tight bond again, I'm just going to go ahead and put some of that glue on our tree. And I will use a paintbrush and paint this down a little bit. And then we're just going to center that right onto our piece. And here is our final piece. I just love how this ornament turns out. I feel like this is so high end and you would never know it came from the Dollar Tree. This would be a great gift for somebody or tag for somebody's gift. Or you could just use this to decorate your own tree, which is what I'm going to do. For this craft, we're going to use a tag from Dollar General, a cutout from the Dollar Tree, and some tissue paper. And I want to give a quick shout out over to Crafts Unleashed Robin. She sent me some wonderful stuff from the Dollar General because I do not have any of them here up in the Pacific Northwest. It was so sweet of her to send me some new products to use. Thank you so much, Robin. And I'll link Robin in my description box below if you want to check out her channel. She has some amazing farmhouse crafts. It's time to prep this tag. And what I'm going to do is I grab my zip sander, but a sanding block would work just fine. And I'm just going to sand down all of the paint and the sparkles off of this little tag. Next, I grab some Mod Podge, and this is my matte Mod Podge, and I'm just going to paint the top of this tag. And once our Mod Podge is dry, I'm going to go ahead and just lay a little piece of that tissue paper right over the top of the tag. And using a piece of parchment paper right on top of that, I'm just going to layer that down and grab my hot iron and iron down the tissue paper to the Mod Podge. Next, I just remove that piece of parchment paper and I'm taking my zip sander and I'm just going to sand in a downward motion and remove all of the excess tissue paper. Then I grab my Mod Podge again and I'm just going to take that matte Mod Podge and do a nice coat over the top of this tissue paper to seal everything in. Now while that is drying, I am going to prep my little tree cutout here. And I'm just going to tape this down to a paintable surface. And using some Waverly Antique Wax on a baby wipe, I'm going to stain our tree. And once that is completely dry, I am going to grab these dot stickers from the Dollar Tree and I'm taking a little bit of hot glue and we're going to fill in that hole and just add one of those dots to our star. I'm grabbing my Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster and I'm going to do a nice dry brush over the top of this tree. And once that is completely dried, I did grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color Sage, and we're going to do another dry brush over the top of this paint. To add a little bit more dimension, I'm going to add a little bit of this green paint here, and this is a Folk Art Satin paint, and it's number 2918. And I just do a really faint dry brush over the top of the tree. And using my plaster color paint, I'm going to repaint the star. And while the paint is still wet, I'm just going to use a little bit of my silver glitter and add that to my tree. And once both our pieces are dry, let's go ahead and put these together. I am using some quick and thick tight bond here on the back side of my tree. And I just put a little bit of that glue down and then take a paintbrush and just flatten that glue out so it's really nice and smooth. And then we just place that right on the center of our tag. Now here is what our final little tag looks like. I think this turns out adorable. And this is something you could hang on the tree, you could put it onto a tiered tray, or just add that for an embellishment somewhere else in your Christmas decor. And there you have it, 4 beautiful Christmas crafts to get your season started. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these crafts as much as I did. And if you're looking for more fun and creative craft ideas, be sure to check out our next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. And for more behind the scenes, polls, and ways to communicate with me, check out my membership and hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, craft more, stress less.